This is Scott Spears, and today we're joined by a true television and music legend who will be performing this Saturday, December 15th at the Palace Theater right here in Marion, Ohio at 8 p.m. in Mickey's Monkee's Christmas, which tickets are still available for by calling the Palace at 740-383-2101, but those tickets are going fast, so you want to call them immediately. Again, that number 740-383-2101. Yes, I'm talking about the Monkee himself, the legend, the great actor, Micky Dolenz. Mickey, how are you?
Wow, that's great. What a great introduction.
Well, it's all true.
The check's in the mail for you.
I didn't have to lie, which is a nice thing. Didn't have to make it up. Well, I tell you, Mickey, when I know this was a late booking this year, and I hope people in Marion and the surrounding cities are all aware of it.
I hope so, yeah.
My goodness, it sounds like a great show. Give us a little bit of what we can expect Saturday night.
Well, it kind of all says it in the title. I mean, it's my kind of Mickey's Monkee Christmas show, which features, of course, all the great big Monkee hits. So you get a full plate of that. And then all my favorite Christmas songs. And they tend to lean towards rock and roll Christmas songs, maybe the more contemporary ones. But, of course, still do some classics. And so it's great for kids and families and Monkee fans and rock and roll fans.
Mickey, that is a great combination, because I can't tell you how many times I've went to a Christmas show, which we usually have here at the Palace every year, and a celebrity will come in to do it. But a lot of times they either don't do their classic hits, or we've actually had times where it was a Christmas show and they didn't do any Christmas songs. So it's happened both ways. So that's great that we're going to get to hear the Monkee songs and the great Christmas songs.
Yeah, that's kind of how we designed it, and we've had pretty good luck with the show over the years. I got a great band, my sister Coco, who sings with me all the time. A great singer. She sings a few songs herself, and like I say, and it's the same band, by the way, my band, which we just took out on the Monkee tour.
Oh, perfect.
So it's same people, and we have a great time.
That's great. Now, Mickey, do you have a favorite Christmas carol?
Oh boy. Well, I guess let's see. For a contemporary one, I would say it might be "Please Come Home for Christmas." The Eagles covered that years ago, and then for, let's say, a classic song would have to be "White Christmas," Bing Crosby.
Can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Mickey, do you have a favorite, and I know this is probably like picking a child, do you have a favorite Monkees hit that you love to perform more than the other ones?
Not one. I have a few that over the years tended to, that tend to work better on stage than others. I mean, there were so many, as you know, so many incredible writers writing for us, like Boyce and Hart and Carole King and Jerry Goffin and Harry Nilsson and Neil Diamond and Neil Sedaka and Paul Williams. Just an amazing stable of songwriters. And so the problem's always been, what songs do we not do? When we do a show and when I do a show. So when I do a show, I sing the big hits. I got to say, Pleasant Valley Sunday is always at the top of my list. I always look forward to that one because it's such a great rock, a great rock song. But there's others, there's all Going Down, and I'm a believer, Last Train to Clarksville. When you have such great material, it's kind of hard to mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try. I keep trying. It's kind of hard to mess it up. And when you get such a strong audience reaction that we do, or I do, when I go out or we go out as the Monkees, when you get such a strong positive audience reaction, it's hard not to love the material, And over the course of my career, I've done quite a few other things. So I never, fortunately, I never fell into that attitude of I'm not going to sing any of my hits. I have no problem with that at all. I love it.
Mickey, that's kind of interesting because I have interviewed a few actors, and I always tend to ask them this when they're known for a signature role or show. And obviously the Monkees would be yours, but you are so accomplished in your acting roles and other songs you've done and things of that nature, touring shows. Does it ever bother you that no matter what you do, first and foremost, you're always going to be remembered for the Monkees?
Well, no, it doesn't. But having said that, I have had periods of my life where I've done things where they've not actually mentioned the Monkees. To give you an example, I moved to England in about 1975-76. I got married over there, and I was working, and I stayed there about 12, 15 years, and all I did was work as a director, writer, producer of television shows and films and commercials and stuff like that. So after the first couple of years, 2 or 3 years of establishing myself, after a while, people started referring to me in the press if I had a new show that I had on the air. They started referring to me as Michael. Actually, was known as Michael over there. Micky Dolenz, the television producer, announces the launch of a new show. And after a while, they stopped mentioning the Monkees. So, but not that I ever had a problem with it, because I don't. But like I say, I have done many other things. Like, for instance, I've done a lot of theater now, musical theater on Broadway and in London West End. And I've had people come to the stage door after the show and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were in this show, and I didn't. During the show, I heard your voice, and I kind of recognized it, and I looked in the program, and there you were." So I've had a number of experiences like that, and I guess I guess that helps. And but like I say, I haven't over the years, I haven't been out there always recording new material. In fact, my new CD, which I hope you don't mind me plugging, is called Remember, and it's an audio scrapbook of my life in music. A lot of songs that were very important to me. In fact, I do one of them even in the Christmas show. It's Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good, and I do that, and I recorded it for this album because it was my audition piece for the Monkees, and that's the song that got me the gig. So, but I haven't done a lot of recording, especially a lot of new original material over the years. So I haven't been desperate to get off the Monkee train.
Well, it's a diverse career, so it's been great regardless. And again, that CD, Remember, will be re-released in January. So people won't want to miss that. I also heard, Mickey, that you did B.B. King's show in October. What was that like?
Well, it's a great venue. I don't know if you've ever been there or anything, but it's just such a great rock and roll venue in the heart of Manhattan, right there off Broadway, and it was a great show. We recorded it, and I'm probably going to be releasing a live CD of Micky Dolenz at B.B. King's.
That's great. Hey, it's great that you can keep performing. When you walk out on the stage Saturday night, when you walk out on the stage wherever you are, is it still a kick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I mean, the fact that there's always lots of people there, and they're very excited, and they're glad to be there, and they know the material, and they sing along with it, and they stand up and clap, and I mean, that helps a lot. I mean, I suppose if nobody ever showed up and I was, singing the songs, and nobody was there, I might not feel, as the same way. But the fact that it's, these songs just, have resonated with so many people over so many generations that, how could you not love it? I love doing the show. I'm not crazy about all the traveling. I tell people they pay me to travel. I sing for free. There's some truth there, and a lot of people that tour will tell you the same thing. The traveling part is especially these days, is no fun anymore. It's kind of grim, and but shows are wonderful. and looking forward to a great show on Saturday.
Absolutely, and so are we. Mickey, one thing that I have always found interesting about the Monkees TV show, and you mentioned it there with Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good. That's a timeless song. But this TV show, this band that was brought together for a TV show, and these songs were recorded by this band, those songs still hold up today. People who are 15, 20, 25, along with the people who are 65 and 70, love these songs. There are very few songs and bands that have that kind of appeal. What was it about this TV show band that was able to have that type of reach?
Well, that's a good question, and I think it's a combination of a lot of things. With any successful act or movie or TV show, you really can't kind of take it apart in any sort of scientific way and reduce it, to its constituent elements, and then, you can explain why it's there and why it was successful. That just doesn't work in our business. You could take any show like you can take any show and or movie or record, and you can try and say, well, it was just the lyrics, or it was just the writer, or it was just the producer, or it was this chorus, it was this actor, and it just doesn't work like that. I mean, if you tried to take apart a show like Star Trek, I mean, what do you say? Well, without William Shatner, it wouldn't have been any good, or without Leonard Nimoy, or without Gene Roddenberry, or without the writer, it just doesn't work like that. In the case of the Monkees, it's a combination of a lot of things, kind of lightning, just striking. You put together the people, and you hope that it's going to work, and you do your best, and you work hard, and you try hard, and then if you're lucky, it just sort of ignites, sort of a combustive process, and I always describe it as the whole just becomes greater than the sum of its parts, and you don't know why, but you can't pick it apart. It just doesn't work. In the case of the Monkees, there was a heck of a pedigree of people working on that show, the producers, the writers, and like I mentioned before, the songwriters alone. The Carole King does not write many duff tunes. And so you add up all those elements, and like I say, I mean, the show was one of the things that I remember and have talked about over the years. The comedy in the show was not satirical nor topical, and so it stands up like sort of classic Marx Brothers stuff, comedies. The songs were very, again, written real well, performed, produced. And on the television show, it's an interesting side note. We were never famous on the TV show because it was a television show about a struggling band that wanted to be the Beatles. But on the television show, we never actually were famous, ever. We were always trying to be famous. And so I think that was maybe an element that kids around the world responded to, because they were in their little garages and in their living rooms, doing playing and performing and rehearsing and trying to get famous.
It was very relatable. And Mickey, before we get out of here on this particular interview, I do want to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention
on the radio.
Before we this year we lost Davy Jones, of course.
Yeah.
And the night he passed, actually Peter Tork came on this program, and the one thing I noticed about that was he seemed, and I don't mean to seem in a jaded way, he seemed genuinely upset. This was more than a showbiz relationship, was it not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, after 40 years, the way I describe it is David, he was like a brother. He was a sibling. After that length of time, and if you have any siblings, you know what I mean. You have no other kind of relationship is like that. And I probably spent more time with David than I did some of my siblings after I left home. After knowing somebody like that and going through those kinds of things, the experiences, the successes and the failures and the ups and the downs and the sideways, you get to know somebody pretty well. And yeah, I mean, it's like losing. It was like losing a sibling. Still is.
Yeah, and passing so young, was it a shock to you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
There was no sign of it. It was like, yeah, like they say, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Out of the friggin' blue.
Yeah, and but we lost a great one. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
Mickey, before I let you off the line today, though, I do want to ask you this years from now, because you're going like a freight train, and I assume you will for many more years. When the career does come to an end, 100 years from now, how would you like people to look back on you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think mainly as just an okay person. An okay person, hopefully a good father, and just basically a nice person. But in terms of career, I guess just competent and make people laugh and or cry and entertain. I guess something like that, and just wasn't too difficult to be around or to work with, or didn't make a fool out of myself too many times.
Sounds good to me, and I want to get this in one more time. It's Mickey's Monkee's Christmas coming here to Marion, Ohio this coming Saturday at 8 p.m. at the Palace Theater. Tickets 740-387-2101. Dial those digits. I guarantee you're going to have a great night. Micky Dolenz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.